Hello, 605 Speaks peeps. Oh my gosh, I'm having trouble talking today. Even though it's nice out, it's actually beautiful. So my mouth and my face are not frozen. I am a little tired because last night I helped participate in the roast of Gabe Nightshield. And he, being younger than me, thought it was cool that the start of the show was at 10:30, and I'm usually in bed by like 6:45 p.m. So I feel really old and tired. But after spending yesterday with people that traveled from all over the state to be here for that show, I'm super excited to talk to somebody today who's from a part of the state that I really don't know a whole lot about what it's like to live there. And I follow him on Twitter, and he's like Twitter famous. And it's all for really good things. So it's awesome to find somebody from South Dakota that's Twitter famous for good things. So I'm super excited to bring onto my screen Superman, Kansas Middle Tent. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing well.
And you're going wireless because you're almost to your house, and not driving in snow doesn't, or not having to engage a blizzard, doesn't that feel amazing in South Dakota right now?
It really does, and the weather's been really nice. I haven't needed a sweater all day or a jacket.
Yeah, see, and anybody else from across the country would think we were nuts. I was like walking around in the snow barefoot earlier today to compare snow heights, and my neighbors were kind of looking at me a little funny, but I said if we pretend it's spring, maybe spring will come.
I'm with
So
that.
tell me,
I think
yeah, yeah. So tell me, you are South Dakota, born and raised, lived your whole life here. Tell me exactly what part of South Dakota you're from.
so. I live in central South Dakota, and I live about 50, 60 miles south of the state capital of Pierre. And if you look at the map of South Dakota, geologically, my location is right in the big bend of the river, of the Missouri River. So we're kind of right in the inside of it.
And so that is one of the probably more beautiful parts of the middle of the state. You've got the big river views and all of that there, but not quite the dullness of right along the I-90 stretch.
Yes, we're about 15 miles from I-90, maybe 17 or so, give or take. But yeah, we have the Missouri River right to what is it, the east of us, and then we have beautiful rolling hills to the west of us, and it's just it is a beautiful sight.
It is not
I'm
the
very blessed.
it is not the flatlands of the plains. There's still hills and valleys right there. I know that the grasslands are somewhere that I do love to go, and for me, I feel like that's the most South Dakota thing. Um, but yeah, to be down in the river valley is a whole nother experience too. Especially you are a dad with kids. I mean, you got to have stuff for them to do. Can't just have them running wild on the prairie. What are some of the things that you guys living in that area? What are some of the outdoor things that are most attractive to? And you have you have at least one kid that I consider like grown up. She's older, down to a little one, don't you?
Yes, I have our oldest daughter is 16, and then our youngest son, he's 18 months.
Yeah, so yeah, you got a span of kids. So what do you guys do there that entertains the whole family?
So one of our favorite things to do is we love to bead. We love to make our own, you know, regalia outfits and just make moccasins. And I do leather work. But outdoors, my family, I grew up around horses my whole life, so we like to be outdoors, riding horse. We like to hike. Camping, we like to go camping, and fishing is big for us because it's right by the river. But we just love being outdoors, playing basketball. Uh,
Yeah,
my
you're
son.
way involved in basketball and youth outreach, getting a whole team. You've moved the whole team around the state.
Yes, I definitely was impacted through other people through sports, and so my way of giving people have done for me. So my fiance and I, we take around about 15 boys and 15 girls um, from our reservation to just keep positive things going throughout the summer and the downtime that they have, and try to keep that idle time really minimal, so they're doing something positive and working towards something.
And am I remembering right? It's like middle school age kids, right? 13-ish.
Yes, right at that, that tough age of, emotions, hormones,
Right.
belonging, kind of at that way of having your dreams kind of being turned into goals. And so yeah, just right at that tough age where a lot of kids fall through the cracks.
Yeah, yeah. And a tough age for any adult to want to like take them on. I would never want to be outnumbered by 13-year-olds. I'd be like, okay, everybody, here's some macaroni and cheese. Just stay still. Don't make any sudden moves. I'd be like one of the people in the Jurassic Park movie. I'd be like, they sense motion, hold still.
Yeah, it definitely has its challenges, but just being, really respectful but firm with them, and then just really setting the rules, I guess, and expectations, it definitely helps. And so a lot of them know that we care for them and that we actually do a lot of things out of love, and we have a lot of support. So with the support of the people that we have mostly from Twitter, these kids, they come from really impoverished areas, really not a lot of money and stuff. And so I pride my wife, my fiance, and I on, when we take these kids on trips, none of them have to worry about meal money, hotel stays, gas money, any of that. So they get to just be kids. They get to go enjoy being out of the reservation, and they get to enjoy seeing different things, and just having that time to really be kids, and not being so much in survival mode all the time.
Right. And not afraid to say, yes, I'll go along.
Yes.
They don't think they know they're not causing a hardship for their family to say, yes, I want to participate.
Yep. And and that's it. A lot of, when I first started this, a lot of families, a lot of mainly grandmas and single mothers would always say, I can't send my son, and I would have to assure him, hey, you send him with clean clothes and a pair of basketball shoes, and we'll provide the rest. And
Right.
it's such a relief for a lot of them family members, especially the big families that we have around here.
Right. And sometimes kids that age need a break from the rest of the family. They need to get out and be their own personality and get their own attention. So, especially at that age where it good or positive or negative attention, kids will seek any attention to stand out at that age. And so if you can give them a positive option, that's the direct route around them all getting in trouble.
That's exactly it.
Right. So, and you talked about regalia. I know you have lots of involvement in dancing. I don't know that you personally do, but your family does, correct?
Yes, so I get into the social dances, the sweetheart dance with my fiance we like to do, and I do the fun dance of the potato dance. We're actually really good at that. And then we do cohominies and side steps. But I'm actually working on my regalia now, so I can actually be back into the circle. But yes, my fiance, she's been dancing her entire life, fancy shawl, and she's just gracefully does it, and it's just her and her element, and doing it is so, watching her do it is so beautiful. And then our kids, our younger kids, they all dance really hard. Sage is our little kuichasha princess around here, and our daughter Leao, she dances, and my son, which is a reason why I want to get into it a little more, to really set the example for him. And so
Mm-hmm.
he wants to dance, but he just needs somebody to kind of be there with him, and that's kind of where I need to,
To follow
you know,
and to train
step,
with.
fill that role.
How many hours and how much planning into design of all of the costuming goes into it? I mean, because I've seen on Twitter, I've seen you post pictures of things that she's working on or that you've been working on, and I to do for her for uh, shawls and things like that. Does she have to come up with new designs often? How much effort goes into costuming for one event?
So Yeah, that's a great question. It just really depends. We always try to set about a 1 or 2 hours away in you know, the evenings that we can. On weekends we really tackle into it, but it just depends. So the other, we had a relative, one of our really close family friends pass away, and Seneca made her some moccasins to take with her on her new journey, and I think she made them in about maybe 2 or 3 days, and that was, you know, that was a lot of, you know, a lot of work and a lot of time that she did that, but you know, she was able to do it quick. And then, you know, with different regalias and stuff, it just it's really amazing when you really try to think about it. Your creative side, it kind of gets stuck and you overthink it, but when you start doing it, you activate just some part of your brain and everything just starts coming. But yeah, the planning part, you know, picking your colors, kind of knowing what you're gonna do is kind of the easy part, and then just uh, the setting the time away and actually doing the work is the most time consuming. It's not. I've done hard manual labor, and this is, it's really peaceful. It's really you know, you get to think about a lot of stuff, and for us it's you know, it's healing through your hands
Right.
and putting good energy out into the beautiful things that you want to do. So it's all medicine for us.
What's the right terminology for the things that go into preparing? Like I say the word costuming because to me, that's what I do when I perform is costuming, and but that's not really the right word for this. There's different vocabularies for all of the different things that she has to make or you have to make to prepare to perform. What's some of the vocabulary that's the correct way to describe it?
So overall, the just most broad thing for anybody would be a regalia, and that's just a more broad general term that, you know, I'm working on my regalia or Seneca's working on her regalia. But you know, if we wanted to get specific, me for myself, you know, if I was to say, oh, I'm working on my regalia, so right now I'm working on my feather bustle, side drops, a shirt with embroidery or some kind of sewing designs on it, a roach, and a roach is porcupine quills on top of your head with two feathers. And for her, it would be her fancy shawl. She'd need a cape, a shawl with fringes, leggings, a skirt, moccasins, and a leather belt. And then really, you know, you kind of, it's, there's no wrong way. Whatever your style and creativity is, you can carry out. Like she carries a purse. If you're carrying traditional stuff, you know, you can have that. Like Leal, she's a jingle dress dancer, so she's more of just a skirt with jingles on there, and then she carries a fan, or she can carry some other thing in her hands, and scarves and stuff. And so, yeah, those are kind of more of the detailed terms. But overall, the broad general term for us and the correct terminology is just regalia.
Yeah. Is any of it commercially made, or are you all hand making every single piece?
So the cloth, you know, we can buy at Walmart and such and everything, but overall, you know, you buy different material and everything you just generally make yourself, sewing, stitching,
Right.
you know, whatever. It's just, it's all gathering the supplies and doing it. And then, you know, what you could do is just, you know, kind of barter like the old ways. You can trade if someone's really good at something and you're good at this, you can trade for materials or items. And just so we can be ready, like, so our daughter, we have a lady that's working on a regalia for Sage right now, and she's a really good fabric designer and whatnot. And
Mhm.
so a little better than what we can do, and so she's kind of handling that part for us.
So everybody has their own niche, I'm sure.
Yes,
But,
for sure.
but nobody's just driving over to the Walmart and buying completely finished regalia.
Yeah, no, no, you can't,
No.
you can't buy those. And even if people do sell them, they're all handmade and no commercial made and stuff. So, you know, they can sell from, you know, anywhere depending on the detail and what kind of work and time and labor it took for that, you know, anywhere from like 300 to, you know, 800, $1,000, depending
Boy, I
on
can't
what.
imagine, especially with the beadwork.
Yes, the beading is myself, I actually just started beading kind of, and so I really catch on quick, and Seneca teaches me a lot, and I have an auntie that shows me a lot. And so I just, you know, like I said, I've, once I get it, oh, it's so, you know, you think you're working for a half hour, pretty soon 3 hours go by and you're like, wow.
Yeah. How many of the young kids do they ask to be shown that, or is that something that you find you have to introduce to them? Are they intimidated by the idea of having to make all that themselves?
So honestly, a lot of young people, they don't they there is some that do it, but a lot of people don't know how. And even one thing is in our community, there's not too many um, regalia makers. And so, we have specific people that we know who we can go to in the community does as well. But mostly, the kid, that's one thing that Seneca and I actually want to work on and implement is a cultural club where we can teach our young people how to do this, gather once or twice a week for a few hours, feed them, and teach that way so they know how to carry on this knowledge. We can bring in elders who know how to do it as well to bridge that youth cultural gap. And then at the end of it, there's a lot of kids that show up to powwows and stuff without regalias, and says that's one of the main reasons we want to do it is because we don't want those kids to not have it and not feel like they can't be a part of it. And so
Right.
them are the things we want. So it's kind of it's coming back to our community, if you will. More and more people are catching on, and it's really beautiful to see how one person can embrace it and they can just help other two or three other people
Right.
shine their light to do it.
Because I could see with the gap culturally that, I mean, I've talked with a lot of people about historically in South Dakota, we know that a big part of our statehood was separating and annihilating the native culture and separating generations of family. And so there's gaps in the
Yeah.
generational knowledge. And I could see how the young kids that grow up in this age of, well, can't I just get it on Amazon or something, being almost afraid to go up to someone and say, can I be taught this? Will you teach me this? And
Yeah. You're
it,
exactly you're exactly right. That's exactly with the historical trauma, the shame, the demonization of it. It's for me for a long time I grew up without long hair. I was a clean cut kid because my grandma was a boarding school grandma, and she just thought people would make fun of me that somebody tried to cut it, I'd get treated differently. And so I just, me and if you see that my whole family, we have long hair all the way up to our little babies and our little ones.
but she first tried to protect you from what she went through by
Yep,
continuing the assimilation. Well, I will protect you from my trauma by making
e-
you safe,
exactly.
describing how she felt, not realizing that, well, that's skipping a beat. Are you bilingual? Do you speak English and Lakota?
Yeah, so I can speak English, definitely English, but yes, I can speak Lakota. I understand a little more, and I'd like to say I'm more of a intermediate speaker. I'm not an expert in any way, but I do know a lot. I grew up in a lot of different communities, and when I grew up in the Pine Ridge Reservation, Oglala Nation, it was immersed into our school, and so I really got a lot of knowledge from that. And then I just self-teach and learn from those that are willing to teach. And I try to pick up new things every day. And so yeah, I can speak our language and understand it, and I can have small little communications with our elders and different people that are kind of able to do that. But there's a lot of other people that are so fluent that I hope to be that in the next couple years in my life.
Yeah, I suppose the more you're able to work it into your daily life, the more it just comes back. It's I think everybody has a cultural language within them, and when you're from a culture where driving out the language was part of the trauma and part of the damage that someone did, I think it's still there. It comes back out of people. I know several of my friends that have worked in the last few years on bringing their language back and their culture back. They're like, some days I just wake up and it's there, and it's today is a good day for it. And how often do you coach basketball and
So
toss words in there to make them part of the natural order for the kids?
So I continue to work with the kids the whole year. I work out with them. Some are football players as well. I work out with them. Most of them come to my house daily and hang out, or I see them. Any when I'm in the community, I like to try to see them. But I don't coach high school basketball. I'm more of the AAU coach in the summertime, because that takes a whole nother level of dedication and time that I just can't fully commit to. So I can do the AAU stuff because it kind of fits into the summer, and it just it doesn't have to be so concrete like a school system setting would be. But I coach all summer long. With younger teams, so like we do a lot of different activities with them, and I engage them and have them do as much as I possibly can even outside of basketball. So I definitely, stay in touch with them. And then I follow most of them. They follow me on social media, and so I always get to definitely reach out to them if I see somebody having a hard time. I'm talking to them or just encouraging them, or even just joking and let them know that life is not always going to be hard, and so we can try to laugh about different things and just
Right.
have all them different aspects of emotions and whatnot.
So they know they're not just getting to see you, you're seeing them and that back and forth.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. What one of the things I know that I've helped support is at back to school time. You've done some fundraisers for school supplies for the kids and bringing in supplies for the teachers. How big is the school district there? How many kids are you serving in that area?
So from K to fifth grade in our elementary school, there I want to say about maybe 250 to 300 kids. So anywhere from 200 to 300 in kids in elementary. Then from high school, we probably got about 150 maybe. And I generally focus on the littler kids because the high school kids, they don't require as much in our school system. But the reason why I kind of mainly do it is because we have so many kids that go to school in Chamberlain, our Lyman County school, public school, and they have these like great big lists of items, and
Yeah,
some most of our families can't afford that, and so I just try to use my networking and abilities that I've gotten, and just the great people that support us. We're able, like this past year, it's been growing every year, and so this past year we was able to, I think we handed out close to like almost 200 backpacks for the kids. And then, that was just backpacks, but we had a ton of supplies where other kids had backpacks, and we were able to fill a,
right.
a dozen, more than a dozen lists for people that just, it's a need for people, and not everybody has the means to buy for the two or three kids that they're
Yeah,
raising.
right. What's the work and job opportunities right in your area? What are the adults doing for work and employment in your area? And is there a lot of traveling? Is there a lot of commuting, like to different, going all the way into Chamberlain or going into other towns for work? Oh, I think I lost Kansas. If I did, I will definitely be getting him back on again because I want to know what are the opportunities for adults in his area for work and for entertainment, other than just the beautiful natural area. And I want to learn more about what can these kids, how do we avoid the brain drain and have them grow up and move away? What are some things and opportunities that they can see adults having that they want to say, hello,
So
you.
yes, I was having a phone call come in, but anyway, so what to answer your question, work is very limited. There's BIA, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, that offer jobs, but them are more higher entry level jobs. Um, you know, the main jobs are from the tribal office, and one of the, whether people think it or not, but we have so many outsiders that come from off the reservation to come work for us, and that it just kind of takes away from people here on the reservation. And then really there's the tribe, there's the BIA, there's the corrections, um, and there's the school, and then generally that's pretty much it. There's nothing. And then with the commute to Chamberlain or something, most people, they just can't afford that. Most people can't work for 2 weeks trying to get to Chamberlain for their first paycheck, and most times it takes for a whole month before you get your first paycheck, and most people can't do that. Daycare. There's only one daycare here in our community, So childcare is a big problem. And most jobs, whether people want to admit it or not, our tribe is big in nepotism, and so it's kind of who you know and what your last name is on the the reservation, and so that just you know it discourages a lot of people. But our unemployment rates, they're really high around here. Like the correction jobs, there's probably only, I'm gonna say, with probably 10, 15 jobs available from the needs that they have, and that's all, that's through the BIA as well though. But
Right. Well, and it's hard for any parent if you have to commute for your job to leave your kids. Like even if they're in daycare, it's hard to be a half hour away when a blizzard might hit and then your kids are a half hour away from you. I know that even when my kiddo was little, us living outside of town and the idea of that if she was at school and the weather changed and getting her home and not being at home is it's very daunting for any mother to be far away from their kid and father too, but to be far away from their kids with their work. What do you think needs to happen or already is happening to encourage kids in your area when they grow up to not just take off and move somewhere else?
so that's not even the problem, is taking off and moving away. It's just that there's not a lot. So one thing I encourage is our people are so talented, they're so skilled, they're knowledgeable. We just need more education. We need more support, more not, I don't want to say programming, but we need more knowledge. We need people to teach our people how to be small business owners, to be to take the businesses away from the tribe. There's that's one of my things to grow our economy. We need our people to be the business owners. We need them to have their own mom and pop stores and their own things, so that way they're generating income for themselves, but it's keeping the dollar in our community.
Right.
And then one thing is just really hiring our own community members. Like I said, it's really tough because when I worked in Chamberlain for Native Hope nonprofit for 5 years, whatever it was, I would be one of the only lone souls leaving every day, but I'd pass them by Reliance, and I'd pass 30 or 40 cars, and most of them people carpooled, and I'm like, there's our jobs right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so understand, I will say in the defense of others, our people, we need more education. We need more push. For the same way we push sports is the same way we need to push academics, for our kids to be doctors, to be lawyers, to be nurses, to know that it's okay to be lifelong janitors as well. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with.
It's okay to be the town barber. It's okay to be the
Yeah.
town store owner. It's okay to run a grocery store
Yeah.
because you can have lawyers coming out your ears. None of them can cook. None of them can feed the neighborhood. You've
Yeah.
got to have somebody running the storefront and taking out the garbage and maintaining the streets. It's the trades are part of the future too. It's providing those opportunities or making the kids see that you can do those things. I know when you say taking it away from the tribe, if somebody were watching this and they weren't from South Dakota, because I understand you mean taking the jobs away from bureaucracy and giving them to the tribal members. You don't
Yeah.
mean taking them away from your friends and neighbors that are tribal members.
Yes, exactly. And so I don't mean to take them and limit take away the limited jobs we already have. I just mean, our tribe, if people, people don't really realize this, but our tribes is a chartered business.
Mm-hmm.
And we have all these umbrellas that just fall underneath the tribe, and that's why they have so much power and control and influence over other jobs. But at the end of the day, if the tribe shuts down, everybody shuts down. We need
Right.
we need we need other means. Yeah, like I said, we just need to empower our people, like you said, to be business owners and to be, even cleaning services would be around here. One thing I always encourage some of my relatives, I'm like, let me help you start a daycare business. Let me
Yeah.
help you, let me help you try to do this. And, it sounds good. And then, and it does, I have a great ideas for it. But a lot of people, one thing I always, tell people I can't do their work for them. I can help you, if I can show you what stream to go to. I can help you, guide you. I can, support you. I can show you some of the opportunities to grow your business where you can do certain things like that. But I can't do the work for you. And sometimes I always feel a little like I don't feel bad, but I'm like, um, sometimes I'm like, I wish I had the means to be the owner of the daycare and
Yeah.
then bring in somebody that's passionate about it, or like the number one worker, and be like, here, this is your business now. You have this. It's
Right.
already, and be the catalyst for that. But at the same time, um, I try to be a great community member with community service, community support, playing my part as the tribal member, and just a citizen. And all while trying to, make sure my family's dreams are still happening and my own dreams are still a reality as well. And so, as much as I would love to be that catalyst for my people, I just know that it's not realistic, and I can't have every iron in the fire.
Right. And everybody has their own emotional and mental limitations it's scary in rural South Dakota to
Yeah,
start up anything. Look at what happened in January. I mean, to have 15, nearly 20 days where the statewide things were shut down, people West River died in their homes because we literally couldn't get out. I mean, it's intimidating to think what if everything I owned was destroyed in one tornado, in one flood, in one, fell swoop like that. It's a scary thing in the middle of rural South Dakota.
it is. And that's one thing that our people don't realize. It's people think, oh, it's so leave the reservation. No, that's not the solution. That's not, okay, they leave the reservation, but what kind of help and support do they have outside the reservation? If they don't have no money here, how are they going to have money out there?
Right,
Most people don't have generational income. And so
right,
that it's a big risk to try to start a business. It's either, am I going to put this money into my business, or am I going to put this money towards my family and us eating?
right. And you don't ever want to encourage anybody to leave grandma behind. I was lucky enough to grow up in a family where I like knew all my grandmas, and we were the little village, and like my daughter grew up knowing her great grandparents and things like that. And we've seen so often where the kids grow up and they move away because they're looking for something, and what they really had was at home with grandma.
Yes. I'm
And
a product of a grandma's boy. My grandma raised me, and she recently passed in November. And it's been it's just been, up and down, but more up for me, because I know my grandma was strong in her faith and her belief. And I know, um, through the many conversations, and hard and funny, and all the realities of life that she shared, I know that she wanted to go home, and she wanted to.
she wanted you to pick up where she left off.
Yes, exactly. That was, I was just sharing with somebody recently that, before my grandma passed, I said one of the most proudest things I can carry with me is, she gave me a hug and a kiss and said, I know you're going to be okay. I know, you make me proud, and I know you're going to be all right. And, that was kind of her piece, um,
Mhm.
of wanting to let go, and move into the next, her next journey as well. And so to be able to, give her that comfort was monumental and huge for me in my life. And she's my catalyst. Her and my fiance, their strength and their love and support, um, has built me to be the person I am. And they're my
Women
rock.
are the power.
Yep.
Women are the
They,
power.
they truly are. I will never disagree in that. And it's been mainly the women in my life, and that have helped me, and helped me overcome. I do have a few great men in my life, but if you tip the scales, it'd be a little like that. And so, yes, I always like to say strong women made me the man I am today.
And you are one half of two men. You're a twin.
Yes, yep, I am a Chekba is what we call it in Lakota. And so, yes, I'm a twin.
And are you guys identical twins?
Identical. The only difference is he has a clip-on braid and mine isn't.
So if somebody saw you guys walking down the hall and wanted to test it, if they could pull it off. It's
I'm I yeah, that's our little twin joke. He's actually nice and clean cut all the time and stuff. And everybody's like, they always say, "Oh, you're identical," and we're like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, how come we don't have a braid?" And so he says, "Well, I have a clip on," and he he doesn't. But it brings laughter. It's medicine right there.
Right, right. Well, and you have to show that individuality and that different. It doesn't say anything about the person if they can't, like you said, if they can't bring the laughter to it and use it as an opportunity to explain. Well, here's how we both live, and here's how we both respect culture,
Yeah,
but do our own thing.
exactly.
But he doesn't live here, right?
Yeah, he lives in actually, so he lives just really special to me, us, but he lives just about 4 or 5 houses up from my house on the
Oh,
reservation. But as close as we are, I don't get to see. I haven't seen him in like almost 2 weeks, so I don't get to because of our we like you said, we're both very individual. We both have different goals and dreams and different things that we do in life. And so my journey takes me right, his journey takes him left. And when we get the time, we meet up in the middle, and I share with him, and he shares with me, and the
sometimes
love
you
is
just have
always
to
there.
look in the mirror to see him.
Definitely, definitely. And so I always, we do communicate mostly every day, though. I will message him, or, I called him today and just made sure. I haven't spoke to him in a couple of days, but I called him and he answered, and we made some small talk, and, you know, and was like, hey, hopefully we see each other back at home.
I think that's awesome. I think that's I for some reason I had it in my head that he had moved away. That Mike Henriksen, our mutual friend, that he had said that that he lived in a different state is kind of how I thought. I thought you were far apart, and that's what I was going to ask: is what is it like to be the twin that stayed in the middle of the Dakotas, and how did you choose to stay there if your brother left? Because I would feel like that would be half of you going somewhere without you.
Yeah, that's definitely how it is. My fiance really respects our connection, and never tries to come between it, and just and that. But I actually was always the one that left the reservation and always went to new places and new locations. And my grandma always, she loved it about me, but she hated it about me because I wasn't around her for her to protect, for her to guide,
Right.
and whatnot. But I'm the one that's constantly on the road all the time. I'm here and there and everywhere and everything. And so uh, yeah, just to answer the question, no, it's always tough to be away from him. Our strength is each other. It really is. And so we try to keep that bond together as much as possible, and just whether however it is. But cool little story, one time when we were younger, he got really sick, was in the hospital. They couldn't find out why, and we was apart from each other for a little bit, and he got taken to hospital. Pretty soon I got sick, and doctors couldn't figure it out. While they put us in the same room together and everything, and just like that, we both became better. And everybody said, hey, they might have been lonesome and lovesick for each other and stuff. And so we never would split up ever again in our lives.
Oh, that's awesome. That is an awesome story. That has to be good for, like you said, the kids that you work with, the middle school age, the not quite teenage, but not babies anymore. That has to be good for them to see men showing a familial love and staying in their community and raising their families near each other. Because you don't see men being lovey. Not that that's a lovey-dovey thing, but you don't see men having that kind of closeness. And I could see where it would be more visible to the kids because you're twins.
Yes, it really is. It impacts people. One of my friend's son, my son's friends, he actually was like, man, I wish your dad was my dad. And he, I had comments like that. But it's just breaking down the generational traumas that most of us endure. And I can sometimes you know be coaching with my little son in my hand, and different things. And for them to see that, it just shows that it's okay to be a father. It's okay
Yeah.
to be this and that.
Yeah. See, and then you're able to say to those kids, well, now you know what you want.
Yes. Yep.
You know what you want to be. So, well, I see that the sun is going down where you are. And so I want to let you get back to that family. I thank you so much for talking to me. When you're in Sioux Falls, I want to meet your family in person.
Yes,
Oh, we lost him to weather. I just know it, because that's what happens when it gets dark in the middle of South Dakota. You lose your Wi-Fi. You guys have seen it with me before. What an awesome, awesome story that is, to be brothers that when they got separated, that they needed to come together again to find that healing. And I definitely am going to spend tonight learning more about regalia and the work that goes into it. I know when I see it and see images of it, it's beautiful, it's colorful, it tells a story, but I've never really had the opportunity to learn how the stories are written. And I think I would like to do that, and I would like to see and experience that more. Also, I'm definitely going to start researching, like, what are the resources for women. I do believe women are the power in your community. So what kind of resources do we need to get to Lyman County and let those women and their power shine? So super excited to have talked to Kansas tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay warm. It was beautiful the last couple days. I think it hit 35, 40 degrees and we were out sleeveless, no jackets. I think that's going to change in the next 24 hours. We're going to get a little more snow. So be safe, wear a sweater. If you are from anywhere in South Dakota, even if it's a county I've already talked to, I want to learn more about what's important to you and your family and your community. So hit me up, 605speaks@gmail.com or 605speaks.com, and schedule a time with me and let's talk about it and send people my way. So thank you so much for tuning in. Bye. Stay warm.